We hope the team play good. Hope the team play good. Cowboys Falcons is a must win. They got to do it. We're going to visit with Mike Leslie today from WFAA about D's nuts. And Micah and Trevon, their expectations of the media and why maybe those are wrong. All that on today's Cowboys DLLS podcast, which starts. Just want to be clear, that thumbnail is not an actual threat at Dak Prescott.
You gotta stop threatening people.
I just love saying "or else."
It's a good bit.
It is not a threat. It's not a threat. So, dear 8 pounds, 6 ounce, newborn infant baby Jesus, don't even know words yet, but still omnipotent. Take care of Dak. Good way. Keep him healthy. All right. Welcome in. We got a game for the Cowboys, and they're going to be playing the Atlanta Falcons, and they have to win this game or the season's over pretty much. How about that? So we'll preview that game. Or else. My name is Jeff. Or it's Ricky Bobby. Nobody knows. Next to me is former Cowboys wide receiver Jesse Holly.
Oh, Jesse Holly went 77 yards. It must be a reality show.
He cracked himself up before he even said something.
This is going to be a good one.
This one's not even like a joke, but this one is, I think this one is like a good sentimental one. I pray that when death finds you, it finds you alive. Let that sink in.
Yeah. That's like the invisible fire that Ricky had.
Yeah.
Cal had to put out. Next to Jesse is one of the 2 greatest beat writers in the history of DLLS, the great Joe Hoyt.
Tell him something, Joe.
I want to thank Ben for the Happy Halloween cupcake. I'm going to be eating this during the show.
Cupcakes are good. Cupcakes are good. No, I'm not having a midlife crisis. It's Halloween. You crazies?
We just didn't get the memo.
It's Halloween. Ricky Bobby. The best there is. You know, come Sunday, I'm coming for you. Next to Joe is our X's and O's queen analyst, Aisha Morrison.
Hello. Are you gonna do the prayer?
I can do a prayer.
You said that's the.
I think that's good. Let's do a prayer.
The you got to do the hands up here though.
You got your Die Hard for Christ card out?
Excuse me.
Yeah, there it is.
Dear tiny infant Jesus, your golden fleece diapers. Please help Dak stop throwing bad interceptions. Please heal all of the Cowboys' wounded legs, as they're always bothering with them and they smell terrible. That's a reference to Chip in the movie, the old man. He's got a bad leg. Dear tiny but powerful, wonderful, amazing, freshly born baby Jesus. Please let the Cowboys hang 35 as this defense is kind of like a dusty fart, and we're going to need a little bit of help with points on the scoreboard. So, dear, still hooked up umbilical cord, Savior Jesus, you don't know words yet, but you still have enough power to get us this dub, and it's a must win.
Amen.
If you could, little tiny infant baby tiny Jesus, make Bijan Robinson slip and fall a few times, as that is the only way that we're going to stop that run game. Tyler Algier as well. Please don't forget him, tiny Jesus. He could fall down 2 times as well. That'd be great. Make it 2nd and 16. In your all-powerful, tiny, hairless, fresh out of the womb name. Amen.
Amen.
All right, we're ready.
Shout out to my girl. Shells, what's up going on? What's going on? I see you in the chat. Okay. Catching us live.
Please hit the like and subscribe. Or else.
Or else.
Matter of fact.
They said that. She said your voice is borderline Jerry.
It was borderline Jerry.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing.
It was a good prayer.
He's got one character.
Are you guys ready for Brandon Aubrey's holdout this offseason, by the way? I saw this morning that he signed with Todd France, Dak's agent.
Yep.
So we're gonna have a Brandon Aubrey holdout this offseason.
How awesome is that for him, though? Like, his story is actually really cool. I mean, we've seen guys, like, come off the couch, quote unquote, and start playing the game. But for him to become, one of the... No.
Oh, I thought you did your finger like that. I was like, I'm just messing with
I was about to say, but nah, it's cool, and now he's with one of the best agents in the NFL. I mean, it's just a testament to his story and what he was able to do.
Yeah. I want the Cowboys to have bad agents. I want all the players to have bad agents. I want all Tyron Smith deals where you make under market for a decade. It's salary cap. I'm just trying to win. I want every player to get all the money they possibly can, but I also want them all to sign bad deals with my team so that we can win. That would be great.
It's pretty funny.
I do think this is must win. This is 3-5 when you get teams in front of you that are 6-2 and 5-3. The Cowboys are not going to, after they lose this game, go win. What is that? That's 3-5 with 9 to
who
go.
you picking this week?
Yeah. What?
Now he's got who you picking this week? Yeah.
What are you talking about?
No, for the game.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
I'm picking the Falcons and the season to be over, but I don't want that to happen. I want the Cowboys to win. And I think it's actually winnable. Last week I hated the matchup. This week I don't hate the matchup as bad as I hated it last week. I think they've got a better shot at it. But you got to show me something before I believe that you have something, and I haven't seen anything, so it's going to be hard to believe in. But I did think we could preview the Falcon game, and we're also going to visit with Mike Leslie in our third segment today from WFAA. That's the one that Trevon Diggs said talk about D's nuts, and then he gave him D's nuts yesterday. So we'll have
literally a can of nuts.
A can of.
Well, yeah, but
the brand
I know,
D's
yeah, but
nuts.
let's preface that
He
he
gave him
gave
these
him a can of
nuts.
nuts.
Yeah, he gave
Let's preface that he didn't give him
A can.
his nuts.
Also,
Yeah,
did you see the two flavors? Ranch and banana pudding?
Yeah, two bad flavors. That's tough.
Well, what does banana pudding nuts
Ranch
taste
probably
like?
sound fire, but that banana pudding scares me.
I don't even know what that is.
I want to tell you this. You know how people say God doesn't make mistakes?
But the go ahead.
Ranch makes me disagree.
You don't like ranch?
No.
What?
Ranch is bad.
In what world?
The only thing worse than ranch is mayo.
You've hurt me. You've hurt me deeply.
Blue
I don't know
cheese
why
is
y'all-
bad.
Okay, that's true.
Mustard's bad.
Mustard's bad.
I'm
All
a
dressing
condiment
is
lady.
bad. You don't have to lube up your food. Just eat. You know?
So
Let's
what do you put on a hot dog?
I mean, you could put ketchup on it if you want. I'd rather have chili and
And
cheese.
then the hot dog.
Okay, well, that's lubing it up.
And is it the hot dog or is it the bun?
Well, the bun matters.
That is a question.
That's the question.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't here for that.
These Joneses.
Yeah,
Well,
these Joneses
these
always
Joneses.
want to know, is it the hot dog or is it the bun?
But if you get a good bun and a good hot dog, you're cooking.
Cooking.
You're
Joe, were you
cooking.
eating during my prayer?
I
was.
was. I
Was.
yeah, it was pretty.
That is disrespectful.
A part of me was like, dang, y'all like,
Well, that's brave. That's what that is.
baby
I thought it'd be
Jesus.
good.
Okay, so I want to start with, we're going to talk later on in the show about the Cowboys offense, which is going to be very, very important because Dak needs to not throw picks and score a bunch of points so that you can beat the Falcons. But I think that's a longer conversation, so we can do it later. Cowboys defense against the Atlanta Falcons offense is where I want to start because I think it's a shorter conversation. Because, I mean, look, the defense is what it is. It is what it is.
Yeah.
You are existing in a world where Deron Bland, we'll see. Micah Parsons, doubt it. So you exist in a world where you're missing your four best edges, defensive ends, whatever you want to call them. You're missing an all-pro corner, and that's your world. And in that world, it's hard to play good defense. You compound that with the fact that you two more players have qualified for grades on Pro Football Focus. So Mozzie Smith is no longer 119 out of 119 at defensive tackle. He's now 121 of 121. He's still in last, but
When that PFF logo popped up in the intros on Sunday night,
Do you ask not to start so that your family doesn't have to see that?
yeah,
Like, don't start me this game. Like,
Right.
Coach, I, like, put someone else in that spot,
Yeah.
and I'll come in the next play.
Yeah, I'll be the second play guy. Yeah. So, like, it's going to be hard. There's a couple of guys that have started showing up. I think Chauncey Golston's playing good football. I
Yes.
think Overshone shows good stuff. I think AO, when he's had to play corner, has been surviving out there. Like, they got some guys that are playing okay football, but the Falcons' offense is good. And it's just another matchup where when you start talking about, okay, what is the Cowboys defense going to do against the Falcons' offense? My answer is probably give up a whole bunch of points.
The ironic part, though, is that if they were healthy, actually probably a decent matchup because Atlanta loves to go 11 personnel, leads the NFL in 11 personnel usage 90% of the time, which is kind of insane, but they do a lot of stuff out of that, obviously. But if they had Micah Parsons, if they had a healthy Deron Bland and Trevon Diggs and Jordan Lewis to kind of combat that actually the matchup wouldn't be terrible, frankly. Without those guys, Deron Bland's still in the rehab group. Yes, he was activated off IR yesterday. That's not a guarantee he's going to play this week.
He was going to be IR the rest of the year.
IR the rest of the season.
He played until the last day.
And frankly, it has not looked like he's really progressed that much just in practice. I mean, obviously still rehab group stuff, so we'll see. Micah, we didn't even see on the rehab group yesterday. So to your point, long story short, they still in trouble.
Yeah, got a new OC down there, Zach Robinson, and he's the
next one up, right?
Like he is. I mean, a lot of what he brings.
He's the next one up.
Yeah, you see some guys like we talk about the Shanahan tree. It's like, okay, well, there's a little bit of a McVay tree as well, and you see a lot of those concepts in how they play the game. I mean, this offense can touch every part of the field. They can attack you everywhere, and I think it's just creative in how they do things. You see a lot of at-snap motion, all that stuff. They do all the right things, but to their offensive line is weird. And I actually was on a Falcons podcast last night listening to them.
Traitor.
Their offensive line, it was don't be like that. I was getting information. No, but on a Falcons podcast last night, and their offensive line is weird because they're not super powerful, but they are athletic. And you see this coaching, this OC understand how to play with that, how to get them guys out in space and stuff like that. And they give their running backs the option to choose kind of sort of what lanes they want to take and stuff, and they make you pay. This is a tough offense to go against. And also too, with Darnell Mooney might be one of the best grabs of the free agency, low key, coming over from Chicago. He's really opened up their offense as well. So yeah, it's stressful.
Yeah, when you think about matchups, with this team, I called Kirk Cousins. He's a profit taker. And when you look at, he's a profit taker. When you look at how they run offense, he's taking whatever profit is available right now.
Okay, so FIT, not PHET.
Did you think like a prophet, like the religious?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, is this an Undertaker thing?
No,
like,
I thought you were talking about Moses.
No.
Because he has all those options.
He has all those options in this offense.
Moses.
And when you watch him, and to your point, they make you defend every blade of grass. And so, hey, if there's Bijan in the flat, we're giving it to Bijan in the flat. If there's a Kyle Pitts right there in front of me, 8 yards of Kyle Pitts. There's Mooney, there's London. Like, he is a profit taker. He's an equal opportunity passer to these guys in this offense. And, when we talk about matchups, one of the things when you're looking at Trevon Diggs, because let's be honest, Deron Bland's probably not going to play.
It's not
plays. He's not going to play. This is the type of matchup that gives Trevon Diggs trouble. And when you hear him talking about, kind of starting to feel 100% again from the knee injury, when you have the smaller, shiftier, good route runner type of receiver, like I think Mooney is, these are the kind of guys that give Trevon Diggs a little bit of trouble. He doesn't struggle with the big guys, right? The big guys he can stay with, can run with, can get physical with. But it's these guys that can stop on a dime, that can shift, that can change direction, that sometimes gives him the blues in coverage. And so, if not having Micah Parsons, when you pressure Kirk Cousins, he turns into a different quarterback. And that's with any quarterback, right? Most quarterbacks, when you give them some pressure, whether it's from the outside or whether it's from, the pocket being collapsed up the middle, they tend to have a little bit of struggle. But Kurtz has been really one of those guys, when you pressure him, he has trouble. The Cowboys don't have a guy on defense right now that can give you that, like Micah Parsons could by himself on sheer talent. If I'm Zim, if I'm Michael from Illinois, I may have to go back and pull a page out of the old Dan Quinn from Jersey book. DeMario Overshown. Buddy, I know that you play linebacker, but we may have to make you a more bona fide pass rusher in this game, give you some more snaps, a lot more snaps at rushing the passer, because if Kirk Cousins has the opportunity to sit back there and survey the field, we talked about 250, rushing for 250, 3 touchdowns. No, Kirk Cousins will hit you in the head for 350, 4 touchdowns. And it'll be just...
And Bijan goes for 250,
3 touchdowns. Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so Kirk Cousins has that ability to hit you in the head all across the field.
Yeah, to your point, 6 interceptions, when he's been pressured and when he's kept clean, 10 TDs on the year. I mean, you brought up the fact that the inability to get pressure is what terrifies me here. And to your point, how do you manufacture pressure without taking away from the backside where you need all the help that you can get? It's a weird situation to be in. I'm really curious to see how the Cowboys are able to get pressure on him in this game.
One quick note. I talked to Kalen Carson yesterday, who obviously hasn't played in a while. He says that he's optimistic. He's feeling good. He feels ready. He's been kind of held back a little bit the last few weeks. So they need him to play, because if they don't have him play, Amani Oruwariye is on IR now. So if Deron Bland can't play and if Kalen Carson can't play,
does the Booth guy still exist?
Andrew Booth is still on the roster. They got Josh Butler.
No, I guess go ahead.
They got Josh Butler on practice squad.
Could you see them? I'm asking. I'm not suggesting. Could you maybe see them put in Israel Mukuamu at corner?
Yeah. I mean, that if Kalen Carson can't go,
yeah,
you're out of people.
Yeah,
quite literally.
Damn near to Goodwin status.
Yeah,
playing the Super Bowl.
My bad.
All right, rock and roll, kicking butt, taking names. Please hit the like and subscribe button if you're here, and give me your favorite Talladega Nights quote in the chat. Thank you, appreciate you. Coming up next, Trevon Diggs and Micah Parsons on Micah's podcast. We're talking about the media and how unfair they are and cheering against the team, and et cetera, et cetera. Let's talk about why they're wrong next on the Cowboys DLLS podcast.
Outdoor season never leaves us. Whether it's the summertime, the fall, or the winter, you need a cooler like Rugged Road. Head on over to ruggedroadoutdoors.com, put in our promo code DLLS and get 10% off a Rugged Road cooler. Rugged Road embodies toughness and determination, qualities reflected in the brand. This is a high-quality cooler, keeps food cold, up to 7
Beer, too.
days. Beer, well, beer, I mean, those of you who drink beer, I don't drink beer. I like, my sodas, my juices, not sodas either.
Mountain Dew.
Mountain Dew, whatever you need. Hot dogs that you only put
Wonder Bread,
ketchup on.
Put some Wonder Bread in there.
You can put the condiments in there too, like your mayo, your ketchup, your mustard, all those things that you might need in the cooler. Head on over to Rugged Road Outdoors and get this high-quality cooler, man. High quality. If you're kayaking like Jeff, it actually floats with you as well. RuggedRoadOutdoor.com, DLLS for 10% off. Rugged Road Outdoors. Go get one today.
Let's talk about my friends at Z Biotics as well. Maybe you're headed out to the track to see me give it a go, do a little slingshot, engage, shake, and bake, bring home that dub. You might have a few drinks that day. You want to start your day with Z Biotics pre-alcohol. Yeah, put it in the Rugged Road cooler. And, after a night with drinks, I don't bounce back the way I used to. So you got to make a choice in your world. You can either have a great night or a great next day. That's how I felt. Till I found Z-Biotics pre-alcohol, the world's first genetically engineered probiotic invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's the thing. When you drink, the alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in your gut. It's that, not dehydration, that's to blame for the next rough day. Shake and bake. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Just remember to make Z-Biotics pre-alcohol your first drink of the night. Drink responsibly. You'll feel your best tomorrow. ZBiotics.com/DLLS Cowboys. That's how you get 15% off your first order. DLLS Cowboys at checkout.
Is that where beer guts come from? It stays on you.
I think just beer has a lot of calories.
It's yeast.
The yeast in the beer.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Like 96 a pop. It's like 96 calories. The problem is once you do 96 times 11. Yeah, what? 11? Depends on
if
the
it's
day.
a long day, if you're watching football and just hanging out and grilling all day and by the pool, you're going to get
like if
double
we
digits.
meet up at 8 and I go home at 11, sure, 5. But if we meet up at noon and I go home at midnight, 17.
38.
Hey, 1738.
1738.
All right, Jesse, you set up this conversation.
Wow.
Yeah,
way
this was
too
your
mu-
idea.
Okay, no, all right. Oh no, I got it. No,
What's your idea? I don't want to set it up in a wrong way.
No, you're fine. Wow, I wasn't ready to set up. But here's the thing.
If you don't chew Big Red, then you. That's from Talladega Nights.
Oh
Oh my God.
So there's been a conversation that's been had. If you follow Micah and Trevon Diggs and their podcast, they had an interesting conversation. And I thought our panel actually represented the conversation the best. And part of the conversation was between Micah and Trevon was how the media, the new media, the media of 2024, and how it's treating the players, more in particularly the players of the team the media covers. And I think, I thought, man, wow, look at our panel. We got Jeff, myself, we got Hoyt, We got Tua, and I think we all represent something from a different place because more so than ever, the advent of social media and content creators, right? Everybody has a podcast. Everybody has a platform. Everybody now has a voice to speak about whatever, but in particular, sports. And I think sometimes there's this misconception from the athlete's perspective on how media should cover them, should cover the team, or just be how they cover in general. And I wanted us to open up that conversation.
I forgot which one of them said it, but he said something along the lines of like, "You're supposed to be on our side."
It was Trevon.
Okay, yeah, like and that's the thing is about like media being on your side, even if you work for that company or you work closely with them. And so I just wanted to open up that conversation about how do you feel being a fan of the team, being a reporter of the team, being a former player, being someone who's somewhere in the middle of all of that. I just thought that was a great conversation.
I'm a former player.
That close.
I was that close.
That
to the
close.
NFL.
That close. Yep.
40-yard dash coming soon.
So I'll start with you, Joe, and I'll start with you because you're someone who writes about the team, who covers the team, who's in the locker room, who's on
Real
the
journalist.
games. Real journalist.
Joe's a journalist.
A real journalist.
I am not.
And just overall about covering a team.
Yeah, I think first it's important to point out that the waters have never been muddier in terms of media. That we go back, even we were talking a little bit when you were playing, things have changed drastically in the last 10 years. TikTok didn't exist 10 years ago, and that's where a lot of people are getting media, and there's a lot of fake media stuff out there. Long story short, the line between what's objective and who's a reporter and who's not has never been more unclear. So I want to, in Trevon's purposes, it's very understandable where he's coming from. At the end of the day, journalists like myself, we are objective reporters, and our job ultimately is not to be on your side, quote unquote. It is to report the truth. It is to tell stories. It is to give the best picture possible and the most insightful storylines for the readers, for the audience at large, and for the public at large. That's also not to say that it's his fault per se for like saying that, because as reporters, it's our responsibility. When you welcome us in that locker room and you welcome us into your lives, that's a responsibility to tell your story right. There's nuance there. Mm-hmm. There's context. There's a lot of things going on in the daily life. And in terms of media, us local media should know them the best. We should know the nuance the best. We should have the context the best. We should have a handle on the truth the best. People at ESPN or national or, content creators, don't get to know them. Maybe they don't understand what's actually going on, right? There's off the record.
DLLS.com, sign up to be a diehard. You want to make sure that you're getting the best.
Yeah, so there's also off-the-record stuff that we're told that helps kind of curtail our coverage where we understand things, right? And, I think one thing Trevon got upset about is the fact that, hey, there's a narrative out there that he is, quote, maybe a little bit soft, or maybe the effort isn't there, or he doesn't like to tackle. And if you look at that game, you guys talked about it, he was trying. That was the most try-hard tackling game he's had, the most effort he's put into it. So he felt a little frustrated. He's like, from a local media perspective, guys, you know me the best. You know that this was different. And then I'm still getting killed for it. So if I can't win with you, how can I win at all?
Right.
So I think at the end of the day, yes, I think the Cowboys honestly would benefit from having a reporter come in beginning of the season and say, hey, by the way, here's what we do. Here's a presentation on what a real journalist does. Here's what ESPN will do. Here's what content creators out there on YouTube do. Like, we all do different things. I think they would really benefit from that because at the end of the day, the water's never been muddier, but our job ultimately is just to tell the truth.
Aisha, from your perspective as someone fairly new into the content creator, world, I mean, speaking of the Cowboys, not saying that you're a fan, but this is the team that you cheered for.
Still some in there.
Okay. This is the team that you cheered for your whole life, right? You told me the last time, my uncle got me started with this. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? From a space now of fans now being able to have a platform in the content creation and covering the team, how does that come together, right? Like, how do you keep your fandom at bay while objectively reporting for the team or talking about a player, good or bad, right? Because in this, there has to be both, right? Mm-hmm. When they do well, you praise them. When they don't do well, we got to call the spade a spade. But how do you marry the two without having too much homerism, on the subject that you're talking about?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'll talk about myself and the way that I approached it when I came in was being new to the locker room, being new to that field, I gave the players the opportunity to teach me what is happening. So, I think sometimes, like, from film perspective, content creators, we see what we see. Like, what cover 2 is supposed to look like. What the responsibilities are. However, within a coaching scheme, it might be different. There might be a wrinkle. They might call it something different. They might have different hand signals. So when I go into the locker room, most of the guys, I told all of them, I'm trying to put context to film, to your point, Joe, so I can talk about you accurately and put context to what happened during plays. We do that all the time. We see something crazy happen on the field. We go in the next week and we're like, hey, bro, what was going on right here? I don't think that's how it's supposed to look. That, to me, mediates, and I am grateful to have had the opportunity to go in the locker room and have those type of conversations. But then the secondary part to that is the context, to your point, Jeff. And I think some of that is what gets lost when we're on Twitter or we're posting clips and there's these captions about certain things that are going on or whatever the case may be with the players. I think there is a level of context that a journalist or whoever should know in those instances, or you expect for them to know because they are connected to the team. And a lot of the time there is a lack of context to some of the stuff that is coming out, from the media side and stuff like that. Now, I can say from someone that came from YouTube and started here and everything, I think we are seeing more YouTube, the people that are in the YouTube community kind of start to work with some of the media team that works specifically for the Cowboys or that's in the building. So I think that allows us to do, when we aren't separate, it allows us to come together and talk about some of the things that, maybe you wouldn't know about because you're not in the locker room, or I wouldn't know about from an outside perspective, how I view things or whatever. So I think it also is important that we are coming together and having these conversations. So.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought this was where we were having the launch.
Oh.
What is going on today?
Does anybody
Are you
know,
shake and bake? Is that what this is?
Does anybody know where my noon launch for the Stars is?
I'd imagine it's actually.
No. This isn't shake and bake, guys. These are Shady Rays.
Shady Rays.
Damn it! I left mine in the car.
I know.
Oh my
I
gosh.
missed
They
out.
would
I
have
missed
looked
ones.
so good on with
The
your.
whole costume.
Hey,
started
look at
with
Elijah
Shady
ready to
Rays.
go.
All right, well, you guys enjoy your show.
Thank you so much. We hope you make it safe.
I think it got towed.
We hope you make it safe. But to summarize everything, I do think that when the players are talking about the media and some of the content,
Oh my God.
what is going on right
You
now?
want to know how I got these scars?
You're not even on the camera.
You got to get on the
It's
camera.
from a disgruntled Cowboys fan.
Oh my god.
Oh, good.
Ricky Bobby.
Hey,
Oh
you
my
doing?
gosh.
it's good to see you. You're looking good though.
No, this is a good costume. Though. I can't knock it. Can't knock it. I wasn't prepared for that.
He's gonna raise hell.
But
Duck and cover, Gotham.
I do think that the
I feel like
players.
we got one more in us too.
Is there's another one coming?
I have a fear.
Oh my gosh. Well, maybe we should just wait.
No, there's no.
No.
Okay. Well, just to finish my point, I do think that the players, in reference to what Trevon and Michael were saying, I do think there were instances last year where quite literally the national media took what was being said by a Cowboys media member or Cowboys beat, took it and made it like national stuff. And I think from your point, Jeff, about the fact that, they should have a different perspective, or they should be like the ESPN folks probably don't know as much as what you guys know on the ground. I think that is what makes them feel like it's like us against them or everyone against them. In my opinion. So that's where I thought that you broke it down really well, Joe.
I'll give you the ball. I'll give you the ball, ass. I'll let you tote that thing. I'll let you tote that thing into the break. As someone who was this close,
I was. That's how.
From playing the game, has done it in radio, has been you honestly, like in the new age of the YouTube scouts and the scout not being only in the room again, you've been kind of I wouldn't say the forefather, broadest kind of brought you in, but you've been one of those guys that to do it that way. Mm-hmm. You haven't been in the locker room. You don't make friends with a lot of guys in the locker room, but you cover the team, and I think you do it objectively. What is some of your ways of going about business and doing it fairly, but also critically when it has to be done that way?
I think I fail at it. I mean, but I also think everybody in life fails at trying to live up to whatever standard that you'd like to think that you will. Because I do think that there's an element of, first of all, like I think Micah and Trevon had the wrong idea in the fact that it's like you're supposed to be on our side. No one in the media is supposed to be on your side. We do now exist in a world where you will have people with a platform that are just diehard Cowboy fans and giant homers, and that's the way that they broadcast. And if you want to take that in, you can. And I think that there's a place for that, and that's fun and that's great. I hope everybody gets rich on every platform. But no, I enjoy watching and analyzing the local football team. And I think I used to be a fan, and now, like, I want the Cowboys to win, but it doesn't affect me negatively in any way if they do. But that's just a byproduct of 15 years of doing 5 hours a day where you just start viewing them as a content machine. But, I think media, a lot of times you will end up you're not considering the humans' feelings when you're talking about how they're playing football. Yeah, that's good. When I tell you Jordan Phillips is horrendous, awful, terrible, should never be on an NFL football field, when I'm saying it, I'm not thinking about, what about when he hears that or his friends or family? And the words I said are true, but the tone is kind of like, well, that seems mean. Yeah. And so I don't know. I think media is interesting now, but I do think that the players who think that the local media is supposed to be like, go team, they're just dead wrong. That's absolutely not the job of media. Media's job is to accurately portray what's happening to the fan base. And so if Micah gets, like when Micah mentioned, like, yeah, they were coming after me, they were trying to trade me. Absolutely. Like, I'm not trying to trade you, but I'm a broadcaster about the Cowboys. Mm-hmm. And so when your roster is depleted, bad, awful, and you have other really highly paid players, part of the conversation about the Cowboys is going to be, what is the best way to get them back to contention? And if you have a guy who could bring back a massive trade haul, that's a conversation. Mm-hmm. That's not anti-Micah Parsons. It's not against Micah Parsons. It's talking about the football team. Yeah. So I do think we are in a world where people, premier athletes get treated really, really well their whole lives. High school, college, you're the greatest, you're the best, you're the greatest, you're the best. The way college journalists, I think, for the most part, cover their college teams, very nice to their team.
But does that mean that their lives are good, though? Even if they get treated well from a college perspective and things like that in school, does it mean that?
No, I'm talking about their expectations from how media will treat them. Yeah. Because as a 15-year-old, if you're a 3, 4, 5 star, like everything that you hear from somebody is to try to get you to their school. And then while you're at school, it's going to be very pro team because I'm also at this school. Let's go us. And then when you get to the pros, you may not. Maybe it goes back to what Joseph. Maybe you need to do at the beginning of every season, like, guys, just to let you know, like, the writers who come in here aren't writing for GoDallasCowboysGo.com. Like, they're telling the story to the local people. It's not, I don't want to name an individual college, but their papers will literally be named or their websites will be named woohoo-tigers.com. And it's like, that's not what you're getting.
I was with the Tar Heel Times.
Go Tar Heels.
I think you can be critical and talk about the team and talk about the game without you. Can you hear me? Oh, okay. I think you can be critical and talk about the game and talk about the team and not be completely, totally without empathy. And that's like a big part of how I try to keep things while I'm talking about the players and stuff. Like, so I think some of the language you use or how you decide to go about it is important too. And again, adding context to what you're saying in general. But I do get why they could feel like it's feeling devil's advocate, where they feel like they're being piled upon. Because if you get it from the national media and you're also getting it from your local media, and it just feels all negative, I think, to your point, by human nature, it does feel like you're getting punched down on. So I think that's some of the response that we're seeing from Micah and Trevon. It may not be true, like to your point. It may not be that they're really getting punched down on.
But they're humans and they feel
things. But they feel that, and I think it's okay to acknowledge that side of things.
One quick, we got to go to the ads. Trevon Diggs did it right, though, yesterday. He stood up, he answered every single question. He had a really funny way, and long story short, he did it very well yesterday.
Well, let's talk about that with the guy that he apologized to. We're going to visit with WFAA, our partners, our buddies, WFAA, Mike Leslie, who was served up these nuts yesterday. We'll talk to him next on the Cowboys DLLS podcast. You're up.
That was insightful.
Oh, snap. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot all about that.
No,
It was a great conversation.
It was. I'm glad that you got it.
over. No, hey, listen, if you're heading out to a game this weekend, next weekend, college tonight, college football is in play. College basketball is starting back up.
Shrek night.
What's happening again?
Shrek night's always happening.
Shrek night is somehow, some way happening. If you want to be a part of any of these things, I got the place for you to go. If you want quality tickets, if you want tickets at the right price, if you do not want to spend all of your hard-earned money on things that entertain you, download the app, head on over to gametime.com, type in this promo code, DLLS, get $20 off your first purchase. You can see how much the tickets is. You can see where you're going to be seated, and you can save a little bit of dough.
I bought tickets to the Stars game next Wednesday on there.
There you go.
$20 off, too.
$20 off right there to the Star game. So head over to gametime.com, download it, use our promo code DLLS, $20 for first purchase. Game time!
I also want to shout out our guys at Sleeper, which, as you guys know, I spend about an hour and a half every day on the Sleeper app. I'm kind of obsessed, and Sleeper's great. What you do is use the promo code DLLS Boys, and that'll get you up to a $100 match on your first deposit. And all you're doing is you're picking, your favorite players, least favorite players, or just objectively trying to find the right one for you, have more or less than their projected stats each week. The more picks you combine, the more you can win, all the way up to 100 times your money. And it's tons of fun. I use it for NFL stuff every weekend. Sometimes there'll be a more or less that's on sale, and I'll have a hockey goalie out there, and I don't even know what's happening, but I'm like, heck yeah, put him in there. And my hockey goalies have done well, as have my WNBA players. The promo code is DLLS Boys on the Sleeper app. Go get some.
Yeah.
All right. Let me know when we have Mike. We do have.
Ready.
Oh, we've already got him. All right, so we are going to hang out. We're going to welcome into the show our buddy Mike Leslie from WFAA, who was served up a can of D's nuts yesterday, and is looking, it's looking good. Look at that. Are you wearing a shirt underneath your? Are you wearing a shirt underneath your pullover?
I am not.
Thank you.
So much.
You're a raw dog underneath the hoodie.
You can't do that on here. Y'all got a bad habit of that. All of y'all.
You can't raw dog underneath the hoodie. Can't raw dog underneath the hoodie, bro.
Sorry. So am I siding with Hoyt on this? Where am I falling on the divide here?
You're on. Well, it started with Clarence because he was wearing a quarter zip, and it was zipped all the way up. And he said something to me about something underneath clothing. And the way he asked it, I was like, wait a minute, you're asking me that because you're not wearing a shirt underneath your quarter zip, are you? And he zipped it down, and just all of his taco meat popped out. And it's become a thing now.
I won't do that to you. I won't do that to you.
Okay.
Well, I mean, with you, I feel like we would just see, just see looking good. So have you opened your can of D's nuts from Trevon Diggs yet?
You know, I actually did on the drive home from the Star yesterday because I was starving, and I was like, hey, I got these. Why not? They were good. They were very good.
What, the banana pudding was too?
I think he took the ranch.
I didn't do the banana. I do not do banana, period. So I went with the ranch ones. They're at home now. But
I thought the ranch was be good.
But yeah, they were good.
We actually just did a whole conversation on the expectations that pro athletes have of their media and how it's gotten real different these days because you have so many different platforms of broadcast and so many different people doing it. So you're having a tweet about Trevon Diggs during a game, leading to him yelling at you outside of the locker room, leading to you guys hugging and enjoying these nuts. I don't know. Is there anything in there?
That's a way to phrase that sentence.
He has to stop saying it like this.
Is there anything in there that you feel like was learned by either of you, or is it just look? That's kind of my job, and then his reaction and his job, and like that's the way it goes.
I think there were definitely things learned. Yes. I don't think that my tweet was unfair because I do think if you look back at the play, it's obvious that he wasn't, at least at portions during the play, going full speed. Now, there was obviously an explanation for that as he and I walked through yesterday, the fact that he was slow playing a cutback from Kittle rather than dogging it. But again, I don't think that it was heinously inappropriate for me to look at that play and go, what's happening here? Because it looks to me like he's not going full speed. I appreciate that, on the back end, there was an answer to that question, and an explanation for what was happening there. And for that reason, that's why I apologized myself yesterday, because, okay, if that's what's going on, then fine. I misread the play, and that's my bad. And listen, my tweet is the origin point of all of this. So if I had read the play differently, if I had understood that piece of it and seen that, oh, hey, he's just trying to play a cutback from Kittle rather than just gearing down and assuming somebody else is going to make the tackle, as I initially thought when I saw the play, if I don't send that tweet out, we're not here right now. I'm not doing this show probably with y'all right now. Joe or Jonah would probably be sitting here, and I'd be with my daughter at her Halloween celebration. So, it's yes, there were things that were learned over the course of this saga, probably more so by me than by anybody. I do think, because I heard a tail end of your guys' conversation about kind of the role of the local media, and yeah, no, we're not here to cheer on the team. We're here to cover the team. Cheering on the team is not part of the job description. Shoot, I mean, pull back the curtain a little bit here. When I was 6, 8, 12, 18, 20 years old, I was a diehard Cowboys fan. All through my childhood, growing up in upstate New York, but the son of a Cowboys fan, and Lord knows if you grew up in the 90s, it was not hard to be a Cowboys fan. I was a diehard Cowboys fan. When I was 20 and in college and knowing that I wanted to go do this, I made the decision that, all right, you know what? If I want to go do this, let's put all that on the shelf. So it had been a decade before I even got here to Dallas, or close to it anyway. It had been several years since I had really felt that allegiance to the team by the time I got here and began covering them. And I'm kind of thankful that I had that gap, because to your point, Jeff, as I heard you guys kind of wrap up that conversation, that's not our job. Now, I do think with 15 years worth of time in the business that the job can be done. Like, I think as a idealistic 20-year-old, I thought, well, I can't do the job if I'm a fan. I gotta shelve all this if I'm going to do the job right. 15 years later, it probably wasn't as necessary as I thought it was at the time. There's plenty of guys that I know and have a ton of respect for that want the Cowboys to win, or want the Saints to win, or want the Bengals to win, or whatever the case may be, and cover the team from an unbiased perspective week in and week out. It can be done. But it's just the decision that I made, and here we are 15 years later. So yeah, it's a lot of things I think were learned over the course of this 3-day extravaganza. Certainly some elements of how to play that particular situation were learned by me. And yeah, I think probably on some level there were some things learned maybe by Micah and Trevon in terms of, hey, that's not really what our job is, guys.
Mike Leslie, reporter from WFAA. Mike, when you talk about the relationships, right? When you're in this business and you're covering a team, some of the best stories come from reporter-player relationship. In your estimation, how do you go about fostering those relationships? And is there a line that you draw in the sand of, hey, I don't want to get too close to that player or players because I may have to be critical in moments when they don't play well?
Yeah, honestly, it's a situation that I'm kind of feeling like I need to navigate right now, because
yeah, that's
R.I.P. You muted yourself, Mike. R.I.P. Boy, he was winding up for something good, I bet.
Yeah, I thought that was a good question. I thought
it's a great question.
I served. Oh, there we go. Hey, he's back. He's back.
Hang on, sorry. Am I back?
It's something you're learning right now, because
Sorry about that. Evidently, yeah. So I don't know how much of that you guys heard. Yeah, like right now.
Whatever he wants to say, God ain't having it.
God ain't. Little baby Jesus.
Jerry's like, no.
Phone God ain't having. Where do you think he was going? Like right now, it would be hard for him to be critical of Trevon Diggs.
Oh,
That's
really?
where I think he was going.
Okay.
We're like, now that we just had that moment,
he can't be critical.
To be honest with you, I don't think that's where he was going.
Where do you think he was going?
I think he's just saying that, like, it's a good lesson to learn as a reporter that, like, hey, to be honest, like, you got to at least think about what you're tweeting, right? I think we get in the habit. I tweet during the games 100 times, right? And I think it's important to realize that there are people that are watching, and you kind of remember, like, okay, how do I navigate wording what I want to word to ensure that it's actually the meaning that I'm trying to get at, rather than just like taking a shot at someone.
But no one's ever going to interpret it. Like, we can get on Twitter right now, and I can simply say, boy, do I love me a good orange.
And someone's going
to say, oh, so you hate apples?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
so you're voting for Trump?
Yeah, right, exactly. You know what I mean? So it's like, as hard as you want to express it the proper way, someone's always going to take it in a different manner because they're just not in your head.
But the subject matter is what you got to consider. Like the person that on the receiving end is kind of what I'm saying. Is like, that's someone you're going to see constantly too. Yeah,
in reference to what he's saying, I could tell you my experience, they understand. The players understand because I do take the time to, if you take the time to, again, go in there like, what happened on this play? What's going on? Because some of us do know football to a point where you know what it's supposed to be, but you don't know what their checks are. You don't know what their calls are. We don't know all the information. We don't. So I do think that they do understand if you're being fair, but also if you're taking the time to try to understand the game within the game or some of the schematics. My personal experience is that I can be critical of them and still be able to have a level of relationship with them because there's a respect for the game. But also too, it's like if I'm going up to you and I'm saying like, you know what you're supposed to do on this out route, most guys will say like, yeah, I should have ran that harder or whatever the case may be. I don't know. That hasn't been my experience, but I do think you can build relationship to where you can be critical of them and they will respond to you and still be able to talk to you. Maybe everybody ain't got it like that.
No.
Maybe everyone doesn't. I don't know.
No, I think there's
different ways to go about it.
Every person who covers the team is different. The way that people cover the team is different. The way that people interact with people and then the way that they would talk about people afterwards. Like, I think there are tons of people that if they create a relationship with a player, they're going to be way nicer about how that player plays. And if you don't have a relationship, that's easier for you to cover the team because...
And honestly, that's my approach.
Right.
And it was hard.
I don't want to be friends with people.
Right.
I don't want to be friends with players because the fact of the matter is, I am going to be critical of you if you give me a reason to be critical.
Yeah.
If you play bad, I am going to say that you play bad. And it may not come off the way that you actually wanted to come off. And I frankly don't give a damn.
Yeah.
If you play good, I'm going to praise you. To the high heavens, I'm going to shout your name when you play good. But I never want the lines to be drawn to think you my buddy, that we're friends, and that you can't be critical of me.
To be honest, it's the hardest part of being a reporter is navigating the relationship aspect of the locker room.
You have to find the balance. Yeah.
So I chose broadcasting.
I'm sad that we lost Leslie. I wanted to hear what he had to say.
Oh, he's back.
Leslie!
Okay.
Wow. Am I back?
Mike Leslie's back. Hold on, Mike. I got to know where that sentence is going.
Sorry,
that
guys.
sentence is trying to come out, and it's been stopped twice.
Evidently, when my phone rings, it cuts everything off. And I got 2 phone calls back to back that just kept shutting things down. So
do not disturb, friend.
Apparently.
We were now debating where we thought you were going with your I'm going through this right now, and then what?
And I hope you remember the question because I darn sure don't remember what I said. I'm one and done with my questions.
I think all I was going to say was just with Trevon now. Because, hey, we had a nice moment yesterday. We had an opportunity to exchange apologies and move on from this viral moment from Sunday. Now, hypothetically, if he makes a bad play this Sunday in Atlanta, it's a situation that I'm going to have to navigate, right? It's a little bit different. Just because am I going to go down this rabbit hole again? Yeah, it's obviously I still need to maintain my ability to be a journalist and to be critical where that is called for. But I think at the same time, going back to, hey, what was learned through this entire scenario, hey, if you're going to be critical, be sure. So there's a lot of different elements of this that, frankly, I'm still very much in the process of walking through and trying to digest all of what has happened in the last 4 days.
All right, Mike, we love you. Have a great day. Enjoy the Halloween thingies that we're keeping you from.
Have fun with your daughter.
Sorry for the in and out again, but thank you guys for having me on. I hope you guys have a good rest of the show.
Mike, you know who else we want to get on our show?
Who's that?
Deez
Okay. All right. See you, Mike.
See you later, Mike.
Yep.
No.
Yep. Saw that one coming.
Yep.
Couldn't help it. Couldn't help it.
I was like, man, if he doesn't come back, I was thinking about that all day.
Eating you up,
got him. Ha! Got him.
I can't.
Ha! Got him.
Coming up next, we're going to jam in a little more preview of Cowboys and Falcons, this time with the Cowboys offense. Get it together, Dak. That is next on the Cowboys DLLS Podcast. But first, let me find my two homies that I need to shout out. Douglas and David signed up to be diehards.
Hey, let's go.
At some point yesterday, and we appreciate them. And that's what you got to do. We're building the biggest and best community of Dallas sports fans. I say DFW sports fans. You know what I'm saying. We want you to be a part of it, so much so that we have a special offer, lowest rate ever. Become a DLLS diehard today for just $4 a month, billed annually, $48 a year. Get you a free T-shirt, access to our exclusive written content, plenty of discounts, and access to our DLLS Discord lounge where we talk about feet and whatever else, where we all hang out, or else. It's a limited time offer, so get up in there. alldlls.com/intro to sign up today. You also get your carrying card.
Mm-hmm.
Special card.
Don't forget the carrying card.
Don't ever forget
Special.
it.
Love a good diehard carry card. The Discord's where it's at, though. We're jamming in there. We're jamming. I have my Z-Biotics, and then I have a few
Ranch nuts.
and I pop up into Discord. I have a time.
Ranch sunflower seeds go hard, though. I'm
Yeah,
just, I'm
they're
sorry.
good.
No,
about
they don't.
Ranch
They really
sunflower
do.
seeds
No.
go
They're good.
hard,
I don't like sunflower
bro.
seeds, but I'll eat those.
Because you know what else is bad? Seeds of all kinds.
Oh my god.
I don't know why.
Oh,
Every
yeah.
nut,
Difficult.
every seed,
I don't know why.
most condiments.
I'm telling y'all, he
Man.
has the
Got a
palate
baby taste
of a
buds.
7-year-old.
Yeah,
He
I
does.
see, he got
Chicken
baby
nuggets
taste.
and hot dogs.
I
That's all he
love-
wants to eat.
I will tell you, it's not all I want to eat.
Well,
Boy, those are two good things. Especially if you shape them like a dinosaur.
Oh,
Did you guys know there's such a thing as dinosaur erotica?
yep.
It's time to let's.
Yeah, let's,
Well,
That's the kind of
preview.
stuff we talk about in the Discord.
That's-
Yeah, I found that out yesterday.
Preview of the game.
Yeah, preview of the game. Cowboys offense versus Falcons defense. And it's kind of more of the same of I feel like what you get every week, where I start looking at a team and I go, okay, here's, something that they kind of struggle with that you could take advantage of. And it's like, all right, but can the Cowboys? And that becomes a challenge, because I'll tell you, my favorite thing about the Falcons defense and the Cowboys offense is this is going to be me being very insensitive. And if any of the players who are listening and play for the Falcons get hurt by this and want to charge me up, then I'll reconsider how I talk next time. But I don't think any of them are listening. The Falcons rush the quarterback like Bud.
It's like
So
the
bad.
Spider-Man meme, if we're being honest.
Yeah, they don't have a pass
It
rush.
looks exactly the same.
They don't have a pass rush at all.
They could have drafted one in the top 10, but
But you know what I
took a
also feel
quarterback
about,
instead.
you know what I also feel though, and as a former player, I remember these things. It's that when you play a team like the Cowboys and you turn on the film, you go, "Hey, this might be a week I can go off."
Suddenly you get better.
Like all of a sudden now you have a little bit of more motivation. Like Matthew Judon has a sack and a half, right?
Yeah, they
And
do.
he's not the guy that he was in New England 3 or 4 years ago. But you watch this film and you're like, but if I get to go against Terrence Steele for 60 snaps, hey, I might go get me 2 or 3 of them things, right? Like, and Pop's not here, but the legacy. We're playing the Cowboys, right? Like,
Yeah, that's not bad, by the way.
But when you watch film, sometimes you get a little bit more pick me up, or you be like, "Hey, dog, did you see that?
Did you see what Nick Herbig did?
Yeah, bro, we can go get. Hey, bro, you could go get 2. I could go get 2. Hey, we could put ourselves, because as the season dwindles down, here's what happens. When you know that your team is either going to the playoffs or not going to the playoffs, you start hunting for bonuses.
Oh,
You start looking around for those escalators in your contract.
Well, the Falcons are going to the
You-
playoffs.
Right. But,
Okay.
but in addition to, right, there's that playoff bonus that you get. Like, hey, if you make the playoffs, you get an extra $100,000. But if you got 6 to 8 sacks, here's another $75,000. Right. So
Yeah.
guys start thinking about those things as the season goes on, especially when you're playing teams that have a really bad offensive line, if you're an edge rusher, hey, I can go get 2 and 3 right now and get me closer to that ultimate mark of getting that $50,000 or $100,000 bonus for sacks or interceptions or what have you.
Some of my favorite sports moments are the times when teammates make sure that their teammates get paid, or when coaches make it or let it happen. And I wonder if the owner's up there like, you son of a... Because I know there was one where like Gronk literally got $1 million because he needed one more catch. And Tom Brady was like, I'm not coming out because I have to run one more play. Like, I'm getting him the ball. Yeah. Then we can come out. And I think those stories are always fun. Mm-hmm. So anyway, what I'm saying about the matchup is that, surprise, surprise, if you're going to win this game, hey, 4. Tear them up.
Or else.
It's not a great pass defense. It's a terrible pass rush. I do think they have a couple of decent corners. Like, matchup-wise, this works out great for them. I think both their outside guys are somewhere between good and fine. Their slot guy is butt. And that's where CeeDee lines up. And they can't rush the passer. There's a lot of elements to this matchup where you go, oh, this could be where they wake up. Mm-hmm. This could be where they hang 30. We just haven't seen it yet. But this is the game, and it's a super important game, and they have to have it. Otherwise, I think the season's over. Yeah. And there are elements to this matchup where I'm like, you can. But it's going to come down to 4 and 88 putting up 30. Yeah. And maybe more.
Yeah. We got Pop-Pop.
Oh, we got Pop-Pop?
We got Pop-Pop.
Okay, well, I want to win, so let's put Chill in.
Oh, Clarence.
Clarence, what you got, buddy? What's going on?
Can y'all hear me?
If you don't do mic checks on the air, when you hear me say hello, you start talking, bro.
I'm sorry, guys. No, my computer's tripping, so that's why I was just making sure you could hear me. But Mike McCarthy said that Micah Parsons is not ready to return to play yet. You know, obviously they're going to give him till Saturday. But when you've been out so long, it's not easy just putting a guy out there when you haven't had a practice. So that's a concern. And I heard you guys talking about the Falcons not having a great pass rush. Y'all remember Adrian Claiborne? You ever heard of Adrian Claiborne?
Chaz Green.
He wasn't a good pass rusher, but he had 6 sacks on Chaz Green. So, you know, the Falcons, as you said, they could eat on this Cowboys offensive line, and that's one thing that you know is a concern because they can't block. Mike McCarthy talked about the struggles of this offensive line. It's interesting that during the walkout we discussed that if he had his druthers, he would have rather started the season with Chuma Doga. And let Tyler Guyton kind of work his way and start when he's ready. You know, they had to force him on the field. And then Tyler Guyton got sick in camp and missed a lot of days, and they really set him back in his development when he got sick in camp and missed all those days. On the flip, he talked about the defensive line. It was interesting that he lamented the fact that they signed so many veteran defensive guys late. I think that was the plan, but he lamented the fact that, hey, you know, we're young and we struggle with the young guys, and certainly Mozzie has taken a step back. He needs to play better. But those veteran guys, you know, them not coming in early and coming in late, that wasn't ideal. That set us back too. They all need to play better, which is crazy because I thought that was the plan.
Thanks, Clarence. We love you. Whatever. You're ready.
And that's something that
get rid of it, man.
That's something that Nicole told me. She did a
Who's Nicole?
Chauncey Golston. Huh?
Who's Nicole?
Nicole. She's the reporter for the Cowboys. I remember her telling me that the Chauncey Golston. She did a sit down with Chauncey Golston, and Chauncey Golston expressed to her that a lot of what's happening as well on the defensive front is the fact that guys are learning new things. And to Clarence's point, they did sign some of these guys late, and that's causing some issues too. So
the guys they signed were supposed to be Zimmer guys, and the reason they signed them is because they knew what they were doing.
Yeah, ready to rock. We can talk about that more tomorrow, though, about Zimmer stuff and just the defense.
Listen.
You and I talked yesterday about
we talked about that on the phone. Yeah, we can talk more about that tomorrow.
I mean, they're gonna see. You know, the Falcons run a lot of nickel. That's Raheem Mostert. That's what he's gonna do. That's how he's gonna play football. And so, you know, I will say Dak has seen, you know, a nickel defense over and over again for years. They don't play each other that much. I will say that I think that they're going to get Troy Anderson back, their linebacker. Yeah. And from my understanding, he is a big part of what they want to do defensively. He's very versatile. And he also, too, is kind of like the eraser for them on that second level because they're struggling there. Those linebackers aren't tackling well at all.
I got a quick theory.
That Clarence wasn't wearing a shirt underneath that?
100% not. Okay. Yesterday, Mike McCarthy admitted for the first time that the running back by committee is not a preference. That trying to use that is not.
They said in camp it was.
I know. So it was the first time there was a switch.
There-
my theory, Rico Daddle's getting 15 carries.
Ooh.
I'm just
Well, it's
saying.
better than not.
You want
Better
the,
than not.
Sorry.
But that's my theory. I think
No, that's
last
great
time that
theory.
happened, they won.
Yeah,
Facts.
it's better than not. Give it to the good players. Okay. If you want to bring Zeke in, you know what you bring him in for? To
They're
chip
gonna
somebody and try to break a rib.
They're
That's
gonna see
Zeke's
a
job.
lot of light boxes. If they can't run the ball this weekend.
15 carries for Rico. That's 250 yards, 2 touchdowns. Here he comes.
All right. Love ending.
Combined with that.
I love ending a show on something as great as Jesse dismissing the hell out of everything Joe said. You know, we like to end on a positive for you
You
guys.
killed me.
I thought you were.
Just have a great day. And remember, if you ain't
Context.
first, you're last. But he was high when he said that. You could be second, third. Hell, you could even be fourth. Remember, you have no idea what anyone's going through. Be cool to everyone. We love you. Be easy.
Eliminate the contingencies.
Or else.
Ooh.
We all silly like the mayor.